definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the main event of the evening that we have right here, which is the middleweight championship matchup, which is the second time there will be fighting between Israel Adesanya going up against Marvin Vettori. First, you got Israel Adesanya, who is 20-1 and is the minus 240 favorite. Then you got Marvin Vettori, who is 17-4-1 and is the plus 200 underdog. What do you see in this matchup?
Yeah, man, this is very similar to the co-main. When these two squared off last time, a lot of people thought Marvin won. A lot of people are also saying that was Marvin's best fight. His best victory is a loss against Adesanya, which is amazing. Now they're both on the top of their game and get to fight for the belt, which is amazing too. With this fight, I think it's going to be dependent on Israel's takedown defense. In his fight with Jan Blachowicz, a lot of people are saying that the template had been laid down. Take him down and you'll win. But if you look back at the first time Izzy fought Marvin, he did a great job shifting the hips and stuffing Marvin's takedowns. I expect Marvin to look for takedowns and treat this fight like he did the first one and his most recent fight with Kevin Holland, where he just dominated him on the ground. Izzy is going to use his world-class stand-up to keep the distance, chop at Marvin's legs, and keep him guessing. I'm actually going to go with Izzy. No surprise. He's 1B of my favorite fighters, him and Robert Whittaker. In this fight, I'm picking Izzy, and the main reason is the level of competition between the two. Izzy has fought former champions and the best of the best in the division, not to mention the champ in a weight class higher than him. Whereas Marvin has fought good fighters, no disrespect to them, but he has avoided Whittaker, Costa, Romero when he was in the UFC, Jared Cannonier, Kelvin Gastelum, and Darren Till, even though that was canceled, on his way to the top. I'm not discrediting Marvin's abilities. He's a great fighter. He showcased that against Kevin Holland. But I just think that Izzy's past opponents have given him a balance of different disciplines where he'll be prepared for Marvin's takedowns. If he's able to beat Yoel Romero once, if he's able to beat Yoel Romero, who's one of the best wrestlers in that division, I think he's going to be able to solve the puzzle of Marvin Vettori. So I'm going to go with Israel Adesanya by third round stoppage.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. First we got Israel Adesanya. He's fighting out of Auckland, New Zealand, and of course, as you know, he's Nigerian. He's 31 years old, 200 pounds. He's 6'4" with an 80-inch reach, and then he fights out of City Kickboxing.
Yeah.
Then you got Marvin Vettori, who is fighting out of Mazzarana, Italy. He's 27 years old, 186 pounds. He's 6 foot with a 74-inch reach, and he fights out of King's MMA. This is going to be a nice rematch that he had. Of course, they got a lot of people that are saying that they thought Vettori might have won the first fight, whereas it wound up going 2 rounds to 1 majority for Adesanya. You got Israel Adesanya, who is a world-class striker who constantly is feinting and holding his hand up to keep his opponent at arm's length. His kickboxing is well polished and loves to throw a lot of different kicks mixed in with his striking to confuse his opponent. He likes to lead with his left hand, fake with it, and then hit you with the right kick because you're too busy thinking about that left hook. He has really good defense against the cage, but he gets taken down. But when he gets taken down, he acts like a fish out of water because he's not very good on the ground. It's just that he doesn't get put in that position at times because he's more he weighs more than his opponents, or he's really good against the cage. And then you got Vettori, who wants to get in close to use his boxing. He likes to use his right hook and stand on his front foot. His volume and motion is great when he gets in the groove. He tends to lean back to avoid strikes and reaches for the clinch to avoid shots. So that's something to think about in this matchup. And he doesn't check leg kicks. He never has, never will. So that'll be an issue with Adesanya throwing a lot of leg kicks.
Yeah.
And then he gets aggressive going for takedowns, which tends to wear his opponents out, but then it kind of wears him out at times too. I feel like the one thing to think about in this matchup is Marvin Vettori's fight with Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's stand-up reminds me of Adesanya, but then the difference with him is he's so easy to get taken down, and then basically he's a fish out of water when he gets taken down too. But he was in that matchup. He was winning the striking on the stand up. When it was standing up, he was winning. It's just that when he got taken down, that's when he started losing the fight, and he wound up getting taken down like 10 times by Vettori. Adesanya is going to be difficult to be taken down. One thing to note in the first fight, when he went for the first level takedown, Vettori wasn't able to get it against Adesanya. It's when in the third round he went to the first level and then decided to go to the second level.
Yeah.
He was able to get it, and then if he's going to do that, he's going to have a good chance of winning. But I feel like with him not doing that right away, I feel like he's not going to do it until he has to. It's going to wind up being a thing where he might tire out a little bit, and then you're going to get Adesanya, who's going to just hit him with those combinations from reach. He's going to just keep it at arm's length reach for majority of the fight, and he's going to keep on kicking that lead foot of Vettori, and with Vettori not blocking it or checking it. And I think that's going to have an effect on this fight. And for me, I'm going crazy with this fight. I'm going third round leg kick knockout for Adesanya.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's got a 6-inch reach advantage, right? And
yeah,
he's going up against a guy who doesn't check leg kicks. Adesanya's background is Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing. Yeah. Like, these are all things that are going to come into play. Where Vettori, he's a striker, but he's a wrestler by trade. Like, he's one. Yeah. He's got I think he's got the most takedowns in that division. He needs to check those kicks because if he doesn't, it's going to end up just like you said. Do you think the first fight? Do you think that Vettori won that fight?
It's so close.
Very close.
It's so close. In aspects, I think he did, but then aspects, I think he didn't.
Yeah,
it all depends on the way you look at the fight.
Yeah. Either way, like if we went back in time and went to that fight, I wouldn't have been mad with either decision. Yeah. They did enough to get the win. What happens next, though? Let's say Izzy wins. Dana White came out and said he doesn't think Robert Whittaker is going to be ready for a rematch. What, the trilogy? Second? Yeah, trilogy, right? No, second fight. Yeah. I keep forgetting Robert Whittaker has just been a perennial #1 contender, if not champion. What happens next? Like, who's next in line? Cannonier?
Cannonier's fighting Gastelum in August.
Yeah.
I think Whittaker is going to be ready by the time, because right now it's June.
Yeah.
Depending on how this fight goes, say it goes all 5 rounds, it's going to probably take a few months like he did with the Jovic fight. And then by that time, he will be ready.
Yeah, I think September, October would be the next time he fights.
Yeah, so I think it's going to wind up being Whittaker no matter what, because that's the money fight to make. Yeah. This had that revenge feel to it where you can make money off of it, and then Whittaker wasn't ready yet. So Vettori had just fought and should have had a good performance. So
yeah,
it was the perfect guy to put into place. But now you got Whittaker, who hasn't fought in a month or two, and then it's going to have a few more months off to get refreshed and ready to fight for the title that he never got the rematch for.
Yeah.
So that's going to make for a lot of money. And, even if he has to wait like an extra month, Dana White's going to book it.
Yeah, and I think the fight to make for Marvin, if he loses this, is Darren Till.
Yeah, it just depends on how Darren Till does with Derek Brunson in September.
Yeah, or the winner of that fight goes up against Marvin.
Yeah, and I totally agree because I was going to say Paulo Costa, but then he keeps on backing out of fights due to contract, and then they just seems like Gastelum's the guy that's like, okay, Costa, you don't want it, I'll take it, I'll get another paycheck.
Smart on his behalf, like he's not going anywhere in the division. Yeah. He's falling backwards. So if he's taking these high numbers, what Cannonier's 3, 4,
yeah,
and Gastelum's what, like 9, 10. He's going to fight the #4 guy. If he beats Cannonier, he's #4.
Yeah.
And now he's going up for another title defense or title shot. It's smart business by him. Costa's gonna run his way out of the company. He's kind of like Yair, where Yair's always in issues with contracts. He's pulling out of fights, and then you're like, when's Jair going to fight? When's Zabit going to fight? Like these guys that are exciting fighters that you want to see fight, they don't fight, and they're gonna, they're gonna work their way out of the company. So I think if Costa doesn't get off his ass and fight, he's gonna be a Bellator champion in a year.
Exactly.